Hi, my name is Bear, and let's start with Days Gone. This is an open-world action-adventure game set in a harsh wilderness 2 years after a devastating global pandemic, which made a lot of zombies out of unlucky humans. Here you will take control of a bounty hunter trying to find a reason to live in a land surrounded by death. You will scavenge through abandoned settlements for equipment to craft valuable items and weapons, or take your chances with other survivors. Days Gone has very positive reviews on Steam, so if you like zombies, give it a try. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. This is a massive, challenging action RPG that drops you into a vast open world full of interesting characters and creatures. The game is made by Capcom, a Japanese company, but the whole setting of Dragon's Dogma is European. So you may think maybe because of that this game features some ridiculous moments, but Capcom was really serious about the job. They went all around Europe to actually get a lot of information, especially for the backgrounds and environments in the Dragon's Dogma. They looked at architecture and buildings and things of that nature, and also just natural environments as well. Also took many pictures and tried to recreate those as closely as possible. Well, a bunch of Japanese people in Europe taking pictures? Who could have thought? Anyway, developers actually did a lot of research in Europe that helped to recreate stuff in-game, and that level of dedication is truly admirable. Dragon's Dogma has more strategy and more dynamic fights than usual action RPG games. You know, you can climb monsters here, and that is super cool. Also, it's a tougher game in general. But if you like to explore the open world and love fantasy games, you can't ignore it. Gamers are talking that this is an underrated gem and is a must-play for every open-world RPG fan. Eastshade. Nothing shady about this game, in fact it's hard to find some darker corner here. You are a traveling painter exploring the island and capturing the world on your canvas. Talk to the inhabitants to learn about their lives, make friends and help those in need. Visit cities, scale summits, unearth mysteries and discover forgotten places. Although as I always say, if you are used to killing stuff in games, you will find the lack of violence here really disturbing. You will find no enemies to maim, hack or slash, nobody to shoot, no dripping blood or intestines on the floor, and no usual possessed undead babies climbing down on the ceiling. So keep in mind that all this friendliness may really shock you. Play it at your own risk. Far Cry 5. Here you will spill rivers of blood and your victims will drown in their own liquids because you are awesome and they suck. Here your task is to stand up to cult leader Joseph Seed and his siblings to spark the fires of resistance and liberate the besieged community. In other words, you will have to get rid of fanatics without any political correctness. Also, all the DLCs are discounted as well, so even if you own the game already, check them out, maybe you missed some good stuff in the past. Mad Max. This is without a doubt one of the best open-world games on Steam. More than 90% of positive reviews are here for a reason. You will play as a lone warrior in a savage post-apocalyptic world where cars are the most important thing, the very key to survival. So in Mad Max you will have the same mindset as my neighbor Ginteres, who fixes his car every day, polishes the paint and spends more time with it than with his own wife. But the balance in nature is always around the corner. My other neighbor Darius has no car, so he spends time with Ginteres' wife. Everyone is happy. Anyway, in Mad Max you will find an action-packed open world where you must fight against vicious gangs of bandits to stay alive in the wasteland. You want nothing more than to leave the madness behind and find solace in the mythical Plains of Silence. Along the way in your search, you are challenged with treacherous missions as you scavenge the dangerous landscape for supplies to build the ultimate combat vehicle of your dreams. Green Hell. Game feels like Raft, The Forest and Far Cry Primal had a baby, and very positive reviews are saying to us that this baby is not ugly and you shouldn't give up it for adoption. This time. Here you are left alone in a jungle without any food or equipment, trying to survive and find your way out. Clinging to life, you have to go on a journey of durability, as the effects of solitude weigh heavy not only on your body but also on the mind. How long can you survive against the dangers of the unknown? Knowing you, probably not very long. You know, me as well, when I watch survival shows, especially the one called Alone, I'm always thinking that I would never give up and I would win the money no matter what, not like these other people. But the truth is, I would probably slip on some snail and die on the third day. Or, you know, I probably would be attacked and eaten by a bunch of these, which is a terrible fate. So here, constantly threatened by the jungle, you'll fight with both wild animals and tropical illnesses. You will also have to face the traps set by your own mind and fears that crawl out of the darkness of the endless jungle. Enjoy the game alone or with friends. Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition. This game reminds me of Witcher, but for a younger or, less brutal audience, because it has somewhat similar battle mechanics, open world full of monsters, many dialogues, third-person view and so on. But here you will not find any gore, twisted creepy quests, splattering blood fountains or any nudity. Redhead will never show what she's hiding, here you will get no love affairs, no hot scenes by the waterfall, just robot dinosaurs and indigenous people. I played about 30 hours of this game a few years ago on my PlayStation. I had a great time, but I never finished it because I encountered a difficulty spike and I couldn't play anymore without loading a save game that was an hour ago. And I had no intention to do that, so be careful of the places named the Cauldron. Make sure your character level is appropriate before entering inside. Subnautica. When I first tried to play Subnautica, I had some mixed feelings. I don't really like to craft things in games. Well, I do, but only when it's not the main way to obtain things in general. And all that coral and fish gathering was really boring for me. I wanted to explore, and the game prevented me from doing that because I had no means of diving into the depths, and if I tried, I always died. So for me it took about 2 actual years to get all the equipment I needed for exploring. I can only imagine that some kid can do that in a day or so, but that's not the way for me. I got bored really quickly every time I turned the game on. But that boredom was eradicated one day when I found some really interesting things deep below that, I couldn't reach. So I finally understood why this game was so hard to play for me. It gave me no motivation to proceed. And then when I finally found one, Subnautica transformed into a beautiful world. So addicting that in a week I spent more time here than in the past 2 years. And I continue to do that for weeks to come. So for all the new players, just carry on with that boring part and you will be rewarded. I can without a doubt say that this game is 10 coldest beers out of 10. You have all my recommendations. Although keep in mind that even if it looks so colorful and pretty, it has a lot of horror elements and is not meant for kids. GTA 5. Well, in this most famous game ever, you will take on the role of a street hustler, retired bank robber, and a psychopath. Those are 3 different people and not your one and only alcoholic Uncle Steve. So here you'll have to pull off a series of dangerous heists. Although let's be honest, here you are just to steal cars and planes for your own pure enjoyment. And you will ignore the story for the most part. Has anyone ever finished this game? Well, I know that a lot of people did that, but it's somehow hard to believe. There are so many distractions. Anyway, this is the game which will encourage you to drive slowly down the alley with your windows down, spreading hip-hop music to your puny neighbors. Just Cause 3. The Mediterranean Republic of Medici is suffering under the control of a dictator with a huge appetite for power. So this is some kind of Mediterranean Belarus, and you have to show them what freedom looks like. And here it looks like death and explosions of dictator's troops and allies. Here you will be given complete vertical freedom. Skydive, base jump and free dive in an open world the size of 1,000 square kilometers, so you can create chaos in all of this land and have a lot of fun. People on Steam are saying that the game is very fun and has almost 0 boring moments. The grappling hook and the wingsuit will help you to fly around and cause havoc, and this experience will keep you entertained for hours. To be exact, about 18 hours of your boring life will be made better by this game. Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. The game was released in 2012, but 10 years later it was remastered and sold, you know the drill, as a new game with a price of a new game. Everyone was raging, but now it's not a problem anymore. On various sales you can get it with 60 or 70% discount. The game itself is designed by the Elder Scrolls Oblivion lead designer Ken Ralston and set in a world with a lore of 10,000 years of fiction created by New York Times bestselling author R.A. Salvatore, or however his name is pronounced. I don't know him, but he's obviously very good. So this is a huge open world game, although be warned that some players sometimes encounter game-breaking bugs. I literally read that in a comment that was written a few months ago. It's not old news or something, keeping the age of the game in mind. Anyway, the game itself is really good, so you may want to risk it. Lilith Odyssey. This is a small but really ambitious indie project you probably never heard about. So here, after the great nature wars have ended, a corrupt galactic government saps life and resources from the many war-weary planets it controls. Your alien family risks everything across an open-world galactic odyssey to find a mysterious land of new beginnings. And they are all aware of their simulated nature. Well, that's a twist. I always say that our world is a simulation, because there is only a slight tiny chance that our universe universe is the original one and not being simulated in a computer of some other civilization in another universe, which is itself simulated in some other computer by some even more advanced civilization in another universe, and the cycle may continue endlessly. So really, what are the chances that we live in the first one, the original universe? A rhetorical question, but makes you think, right? Anyway, you will embark on a galactic journey to Lilith, a faraway planet of New Hope. You will discover the history of the Mulago galaxy, relax to in-game radio, grow your fishing, farming and space-faring skills, and enjoy casual adventure. Maneater. In this game, you will not be a traditional bad guy, you will not even be a guy, you'll be a shark. In fact, you will start out as a small shark pup, where both wildlife and humans will be your enemies. This is actually an RPG game. Your goal here is to eat and become a strongest boy, and you will find plenty of food for that matter, ranging from happy fish and friendly turtles to the most delicious meal of them all, unsuspecting beach people. The game is well narrated and the humor is beautiful, but Maneater is quite short. It will take about 8 hours to complete. Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition. This version includes the base game and all the DLC, so if you never play the game, it's the best version you can get. And the Kingdom Come itself is basically a realistic Skyrim set in medieval Europe. It has a great story, interesting missions, and a really beautiful world set in an ancient part of nowadays Czech Republic. So grab your wooden sword and show everyone who's the real boss of Czechia is. Spoiler, not you probably, because at first you are very lame and puny. The harsh reality of level 1 villager that decided to become a warrior is not very pleasant. Imagine yourself being level 1 at anything, that is not nice. Level 1 penis doctor, imagine that. No, just no. But you will learn and armies will fall by your feet, sooner or later. Probably way later. No Man's Sky. Developers say that here you can become anything you want, but it's obvious that you can't become a pirate giraffe with palm trees instead of legs, or an ocean filled with pink shoes. You can't become an ocean here, so realistically speaking, you have limited choices of what you may become. But in general, this game lets you choose from many different paths. Will you be a fighter preying on the weak and taking their delicious potato salad by force, or a merchant who will find rich resources on forgotten worlds and exploit them for the highest prices? Or maybe an explorer? Go beyond the known frontier and discover places and things that no one has ever seen before. Like, you know, whiskey without a hangover. Nobel Prize guaranteed.
That's not how the Nobel Prize works.
Oh, shut up. So in general, No Man's Sky procedurally generates the whole universe. It's still a bit smaller than your mama, but it will be enough for you to dive in for a few days at least. Or maybe more. A lot of people who left comments on Steam, for example, have from about 20 to 150 hours of playtime. You can also play it in VR mode, although it's not a requirement by any means. Monster Hunter World. You'll take on the role of a hunter and slay ferocious monsters in a living ecosystem, where you can use the landscape and its diverse inhabitants to get the upper hand. You can hunt alone or in co-op with up to 3 other players, and use materials collected from fallen foes to craft new gear. There are 14 different weapons at your disposal, each with its own unique characteristics and styles of attack. Many hunters acquire proficiency in multiple types, while others prefer to attain mastery of one. Monster Hunter World has 87% of positive reviews on Steam, left by more than 200,000 players. Incredible achievement. LA Noire. This is a violent crime thriller that blends action with true detective work. You will search for clues, chase down suspects and interrogate witnesses as you struggle to find the truth in a city where everyone has something to hide. And when you try to unearth the sinister secrets, there is a huge chance that someone will try to silence you for good. During Hollywood's golden age, you play as LAPD detective thrown headfirst into a city drowning in its own success. Corruption is rampant, the drug trade is exploding and murder rates are at an all-time high. So in your fight to climb the ranks and do what's right, you must unravel the truth behind a string of arson attacks, racketeering conspiracies and brutal murders. People on Steam are saying that civilian casualties are just a part of the job, and the game itself is like a noir GTA 5. Resident Evil Village. The story is set a few years after the events in Resident Evil 7. The all-new storyline begins when a man and his wife start living peacefully in a new location, free from their past nightmares and horrors. And just as they are building their new life together, then you know, stuff happens. Otherwise, it would be a love story, not a fantasy story with horror elements. Village is one of the coolest games ever, with an atmosphere creepier than your neighbor-in-law.
Wait, what? That exists?
I don't know, I hope not. Also, this game is not a pure horror game as you can imagine. It's really not that scary, it's just creepy. And overwhelmingly positive reviews are here for a reason. This game is fantastic. Also, you can play the free demo version on Steam. Red Dead Redemption 2. Welcome to America, 1899. Here you are an outlaw on the run. You and your gang will have to rob, steal and fight your way to survive. You'll travel across a beautiful country and occasionally some people will ask for help and you can just politely decline. Or not, it's up to you. The game itself feels like an interactive cinematic film. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a beautiful emotional roller coaster. The story will leave you wondering if there is a pill you can drink to forget it so you could experience the game once again. And most importantly, your horse's testicles will shrink when it's cold.
Most importantly?
Yes, most importantly. Cry Primal. Welcome to the Stone Age, a time for extreme danger and limitless adventure, when giant mammoths and saber-toothed tigers ruled the earth and humanity was at the bottom of the food chain. Well, not the very bottom, raccoons were still below us, but a fat, juicy human would also be more preferred meal for a saber-toothed tiger, so I don't know if this lower position of raccoons really help us here. As the last survivor of your hunting group, you will learn to craft a deadly arsenal of, you know, sticks and stones to fend off fierce beasts and outsmart enemy tribes to conquer the land and become the apex predator. That won't be easy, except if you play on easy, then it will be easy. The Outer Worlds. Somehow I always think that this game gets too little attention. It is definitely one of the best RPG games I have played in recent years. It is funny, it has secrets, many guns and places to explore. It's not just Fallout in space. I had more fun playing The Outer Worlds than I had playing Fallout 4. Even if this is a bit smaller game, I can absolutely give it 9 cold beers out of 10 and recommend it to you without a doubt. But I have to mention that it has some cons as well, like unbalanced difficulty. You know, at first you die a lot, but later everything else dies in seconds, even the strongest monsters. Then you may think,
Hey, I will switch from hard to the hardest difficulty.
but you can't. You have to play the whole game on this hardest difficulty without switching it off, because developers decided to add some stupid achievements most of the players don't even care about. So you will feel overpowered all the time and you can't do anything about that. That's why I didn't buy and didn't play the last DLC. I already feel like a combat god, everything just dies when I blink. Project Zomboid. The fact that this game is in early access from, wait for it, from 2013, so 10 years now, doesn't scare the crowd of giving it a very positive review score, with the recent 8,000 reviews being in an overwhelmingly positive range. So what is this phenomenal title? Well, to say simply, it's a zombie survival game, but to say that, it's just like scratching the surface of the whale balls with your nail. And I'm not sorry for putting this picture into your head. Also, now you're thinking,
Do whales actually have them?
I don't know, it's for you to Google I guess, I'm not brave enough. So Project Zomboid is a sandbox and your goal is to survive as long as you can. So basically this is an enormous world full of opportunities to die horribly, in one way or another, sooner or later, but you know, you will. You can play the game alone or with friends, even 4-player split-screen co-op mode is available. That is for sure not a thing you may casually encounter, but you know what you will encounter casually here? Depression, boredom, hunger, thirst, illness, cold nights, electricity shortages, hordes of zombies, and winter. Winter is coming, and you don't have proper clothes.
But I have.
No, you don't. Give those to me. Elden Ring. It was really a mystery to see if Elden Ring would get a discount. You know, it was discounted only once in the entire time since the official release. The game is balanced for those who like Souls-like games, but it is possible to play for people without masochistic tendencies as well. The game is a bit easier than Dark Souls, but just keep in mind that despite that, it is really challenging and you will be dying all the time. Although this time it's an open world and you can go wherever you want. And the game doesn't hold your hand or penis, so you are free to go and explore various places. You may ask, how to know where to go then? Well, you will know, believe me. If you put your nose in the wrong area, you will die a little bit quicker than in other places. Anyway, the world is beautiful, enemies are really original, and you may not have a lot of fun here, but the atmosphere of the game will forever stay with you. Elden Ring is not something you can easily forget about. Raft. Build a raft of your dreams and sail into the ocean. That may look like the whole point and story of this game, but your mission is to survive an ocean adventure across dangerous waters, and that won't be easy. Here, trapped on a small raft with nothing but a hook made of old plastic, you awake on a vast blue ocean, totally alone and with no land in sight. With a dry throat and an empty stomach, you will have to gather debris to survive, expand your raft, and be wary of the dangers of the ocean. You may play the game alone, which is perfectly fine, or with your friends if you have any. Also with creepy strangers as well. That would add to immersion, don't you think? Imagine, you are on the Titanic, it sinks, and you have to share the boat with a dude who obviously thinks of killing and eating you. Immersion over 9,000, right?
So can you cannibalize your friends here?
Well, sadly no. Even if you are very hungry, you will have to eat fish and other stuff you manage to catch. No cannibals here. But with the next patch, who knows? Sable. Here you'll embark on a unique and unforgettable journey and guide Sable through her gliding, which is a rite of passage that will take you across vast deserts and mesmerizing landscapes capped with the remains of spaceships and ancient wonders. You'll explore the dunes on your hoverbike, scale monumental ruins and encounter other nomads as you unearth mysteries long forgotten and discover what you're hiding behind your mask. The game is single player only, and you can already see that it is a work of art. There is a lot in this world just waiting to be discovered and explored. People on Steam are talking that the game is a little bit similar to the Breath of the Wild. The world is open and the amount of quests here won't let you get bored. Sea of Thieves 2023 edition. Are you ready to become most notorious pirate in the world, take hostages and pillage ships for incredible wealth? That is great. If so, you can also try this game and treat it like a pirate simulator for your upcoming life of crime. So here you will explore a vast world filled with unspoiled islands and underwater kingdoms, take on adventures to hunt for lost loot, forge a reputation with the trading companies, and battle various foes, from phantoms and ocean crawlers to megalodons and the mighty kraken itself. And you know, after you kill the beast, keep in mind that krakens are very tasty with hot potatoes and lemon. Also here, obviously, you can try your hand at fishing, make maps to your own buried treasure, or choose from hundreds of other optional goals and side quests. And the game itself is not a short one. The estimated time to complete all 60 Sea of Thieves achievements is about 1,000 hours. Make sure you have a lot of free time before buying. Also, this edition, besides a base copy of Sea of Thieves itself, includes all permanent content added since launch, plus 10,000 gold bonus and many other things. Sonic Frontiers. This is that famous open-world Sonic game you probably have heard about, but saw the price and decided to come back later. I'm not saying that this later is now. The price is still kinda steep, and you must be quite a money mountaineer to reach the top of this one.
To say it in simple words, this game is still for rich people.
Yeah, anyway, here you'll race across 5 massive overworld islands, brimming with dense forest, overflowing waterfalls, and sizzling desert landscapes, each with their own unique action platforming challenges and hidden secrets to uncover. Some people on Steam are saying that you will do yourself a favor if you skip all the story moments and just enjoy the action, and reviews on Steam are very positive, hovering above 90%. The Eternal Cylinder. You know how we are always whining about all the games being the same? All the games copy other games, and then some copies become even more popular than the originals, and then everyone is copying the copies until the cycle repeats itself. Yeah, that's not the case with the Eternal Cylinder. I doubt that I have seen anything like this. The game is obviously inspired by some crazy artist or made by one, so he will control this cute creature and wander around with various tasks. But the true meaning of this game lies in its name. An enormous rolling cylinder is approaching, and you, along with everything around, are its pizza dough. It is a mobile megastructure of unknown origin. It has destroyed and absorbed countless civilizations over the billions of years of its existence, and will do the same to you and your land. It can be delayed, but it has never been truly stopped.
Well, maybe bigger being can stop it.
What do you mean by bigger being?
I'm talking about your mama.
Oh, shut up. So I guess if you fail, everyone will die. Game has very positive reviews and it's really underrated. Also, the soundtrack is free to download. That is not what you see every day in this greedy world, that's for sure.
Vampyr.
Guess, who are you going to be in this game? A doctor, and I am not even joking. Of course, you will be a vampire here as well. These are difficult times, no one can survive having only one profession. You are not that evil here, but you can choose to kill or rather devour good people and get stronger in the process. You will have to fight against vampire hunters, undead and other supernatural creatures with your own supernatural abilities. People on Steam really enjoy this game's atmosphere, music and voice acting as well. The only thing the game lacks is the freedom. Well, they provide you with many choices, but when you think about it, they don't really matter that much. Outer Wilds. Almost everyone who has played Subnautica and Outer Wilds are saying that these games have a lot in common. Exploring vast space in Outer Wilds is really similar to exploring the vast ocean in Subnautica. It was named Game of the Year 2019 by Giant Bomb, Polygon, Eurogamer and The Guardian, so that alone should grab your attention. If it grabs something else or somewhere else, call the police. Here you are, the newest recruit of the Outer Wilds Ventures, a space program searching for answers in a strange, constantly evolving solar system. You will have to find what lurks in the heart of the ominous dog Bramble. Who built the alien city on the moon? Well, obviously aliens, but you know what I mean. Can the endless time loop be stopped? And why is potato salad so delicious? Answers await you in the most dangerous reaches of space. Game has overwhelmingly positive reviews, so you can't go wrong with this one. Far Cry 6. The game will take you on a journey to Yara, a fictional tropical country inspired by Cuba. Here, ruthless dictator Anton Castillo is in charge. His life's goal is to rebuild the country and bring it back to its glory 50 years ago, when the dictator was his father, no matter what sacrifices he has to make to the people. Yeah, he's willing to sacrifice you for the greater good and feel bad about it. And you play as a warrior of the local resistance movement, trying to remove Castillo from power through both guerrilla warfare and bloody protests in the streets. So as you fight this evil man, be sure that you will never get yourself into a situation where you have to be at his mercy. Yeah, because when you see Giancarlo Esposito as a bad guy, you know that he will do anything to achieve his goal. So fighting a boss like that is a serious business that will not let you make any mistakes. Cyberpunk 2077. A lot of people, including me, can't forget how bad the release of this game was, but developers worked hard and from 5 warm milks out of 10, the game's score has increased to 8 cold beers out of 10, meaning that this is a nice game and the price of 30 euros or comparable amount of dollars is actually a great deal. If you take recent 12,000 reviews, they show something that would be really unexpected just a year ago. 87% of them are positive. People love the game now, and if you have spare money and are thinking about what to play, Cyberpunk 2077 may be your choice. I'm not saying that the game is perfect, but a few major updates and fixes are slowly turning it into a game that it was supposed to be. You can already change your haircut and the police are teleporting a bit further away. It still literally feels like they teleport though, and that sucks. Recently, developers said that a complete overhaul of the cop system as well as a vehicle-to-vehicle combat is in the works. When it will be updated, nobody knows, but that is a great news no matter how you look at it. Grounded. One of the smallest open-world games. You can only freely move around in your yard of several square meters. The trick is that the game follows the best traditions of famous movie
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
And here you are literally shrunk to the size of an ant. So actually this world is vast, beautiful and dangerous place. You know, almost every predator is bigger than you. Probably a dog peeing on some flower can literally drown you, in a way that you wouldn't want to be carved on your tombstone. So here we'll explore, build and survive together in this first-person multiplayer survival adventure. So can you thrive alongside the hordes of giant insects fighting to survive the perils of the backyard? Well, alone probably not, but if you have some friends or a loving mother-in-law, you can play the game together and have lots of fun. The rating on Steam hovers around 90%, and that is always a sign of a good game. Mafia Definitive Edition. Remastered and re-released in 2020s, the game is a proud owner of a very positive reviews on Steam. He'll take on the role of a mafioso in 1930s city of Lost Haven. It's a fictional place, but it's inspired by the city of Chicago. The town got hit hard by the Great Depression, and the advent of Prohibition in America means lucrative business opportunities for various mobsters. And let's be fair, for some shady old ladies as well who were brewing their moonshines deep in the cellars. By the way, did you know that you have to pour out the first first cups of moonshine you make because it's poison? If you drink it, you will die or at least go blind. I've heard that from some master brewer a long time ago, but I can't remember the details. Anyway, as I've said many times before, prohibition in my eyes is a crime against humanity, so those gangsters are just folk struggling to survive in this authoritarian environment. Thank you for watching, and let's meet in another Steam Summer Sale video. There are plenty of them on my channel, I suggest you to watch them all. I pick the best games for you, and only for you. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time, bye!